Welcome to PCMC. I'm Mike Bongiorno. I'm joined today once again by my good friend, Miss Nadia Kader. How are you?
Doing good. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing fantastic because we're talking about one of the best movies of the last couple years, one of the funniest movies of the last couple years. I'm talking about 2022's M3GAN, spelled M3GAN.
Would you? That's a tad hyperbolic, but
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is a movie kind of like Snakes on a Plane was. Um,
okay.
and that it was like it had a lot of early hype. It kind of was like, this seems ridiculous and campy, and it was a thrill to watch. Although Snakes on a Plane was very poor quality, whereas I actually think this is very well made. I actually found it just as funny when I watched it again. What are your feelings on M3GAN?
M3GAN's a riot.
Yeah.
Um, it's just a fun ride, even though, granted, previously the kinds of movies that you and I discuss are usually can be a little more esoteric, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But M3GAN it really leads you, it holds your hand the whole movie, I would say. And I'm
Uh-huh.
not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, but
Okay.
it's pretty straightforward in its narrative. And you kind of, it kind of reminded me of, like, in a weird way, like Child's Play. Like, it's a
Sure, yeah.
doll that's kind of alive, but menacing, and learns to
Yeah.
be more menacing over time. I think it's a riot. I don't think there's anything really scary about it, necessarily, but I don't think that's bad. I think it's
No,
fun. It
no.
is more of a thriller, I would say,
Yeah,
than
yeah,
like horror.
yeah.
And I gotta say, the performances are actually really good in this movie. Um,
That's what holds it together, right? Because when a horror comedy is like jokey jokey, right? It can make it usually doesn't work. This movie, for the most part, 99% of the time, plays it straight. And all the actors play it straight, especially the star Allison Williams. She's not playing it winky winky. She's not playing it like a comedy. She's playing it like a drama, which is what makes the comedy in it hit so hard.
oh yeah. And I gotta say, for the newest term lately has been nepo babies, because she's Brian Williams's
Oh,
daughter.
sure, sure.
She starred on Girls. But, regardless of the nepotism, she's an excellent actor. She's absolutely
Yeah.
menacing in Get Out. She was
Yeah,
really
great and
good in
Get Out.
Girls. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. And she's great in this, and she's playing a different, very different role from those other two, her most
Right.
famous roles, right? Girls and Get Out. But she handles it really well, and she takes it very seriously, and it works, and it absolutely works well.
Yeah, yeah. So let's say M3GAN, M3GAN is directed by Gerard Johnstone, a director from New Zealand who's done some stuff in New Zealand, some shows and movies. The screenplay and story are by Akila Cooper, who wrote the movie *Malignant* and a couple episodes of the new Star Trek show *Strange New World*, as well as some episodes of *Luke Cage*. And the story is by James Wan, who is kind of a big name in horror. He's the writer director of the first Saw and the first Conjuring and the first Insidious. Oh no, both Insidious movies. He's
Oh,
produced all the he's produced all the Conjuring movies and all its spin-offs. He's produced all the Saw movies. And he just had this idea, like you said, which is not really a new idea, like the doll movie. I mean, like even before Child's Play, there's
The
Twilight
Twilight Zone.
Zone. Yeah,
The
yeah.
the doll that was like killed the or got the evil stepfather killed, right?
Right,
Even though
yeah.
she's technically like the hero in that. Um, not a new idea. Or also artificial intelligence, you know, taking over and getting violent with their
Right.
masters.
That's
Not a
actually
new idea.
right. That's actually the plot of the remake of Child's Play that came out a few years ago.
What do you think of that movie?
It was not very good. Um, but there's reasons why I think this works. First of all, she's a fashion icon. I love every outfit she has. And I don't really know fashion, but I know when it works.
Yeah.
And Megan herself, who's played a lot of different people bring her together. Sometimes she's a puppet, sometimes she's a real little girl with a mask, sometimes she's completely CG. Her voice is somebody else entirely. Megan her attitude is so funny. She's not like evil like Chucky. She's like kind of like over it. Like when she says things like when Alison Williams is like turn off and she's like, wait, hold on a minute. I thought we were having a conversation. That's so funny.
Yeah.
I did not expect her to sing. When she
She's cheeky.
sings, yes, she is cheeky. When she sings, it's so goddamn funny. Because that wasn't in the trailer at all. The first time she sings, and it comes out of nowhere like a Disney princess. I was like howling. I couldn't believe it. It was so good.
The dancing that is
Oh,
in the trailer is what got me, which I still don't understand. I've laughed twice. I watched this movie twice. Still funny, but I don't get it. It reminded me of the dancing scene. Oh my god, do you remember when you and I saw Ex Machina?
yeah.
And there's just that random disco minute in it, like
Hmm.
totally like throws you off. That's what
Yeah.
this reminded me of.
Right,
And I
right,
was
right.
just like, why was this here? I don't know. What do you
Right.
know? Is
But
that
what's
like
it?
a throwback to something that I'm
I
not
don't
like?
know, but that's what made it go viral, right? That dance in the trailer is what made it go viral. It's what made people watch the trailer. It's what made all this anticipation happen. People started doing the dance on TikTok.
Maybe that's it. Maybe it's just that
It's
Megan being an artificial intelligence attached to the network is that she's just emulating TikTok videos.
Oh, maybe. I mean, there was one scene earlier where you see Katie, the real little girl, kind of showing her to dance, but it's not exactly what we're seeing here in that scene where she's dancing.
Right. But she's also adaptable, and that's what they say. They make sure
Yeah,
to tell you that in the movie multiple times, and then you see her adapt. Like she gets better over the course of the movie, or
yeah,
more of herself as she develops her own personality. And I gotta say, like all the players involved, that worked so well. The
right.
the actor who physically played her body, because you notice throughout the movie when she first meets Katie, she doesn't move her arms when she walks,
Yeah,
and there's these kind of, and the way she blinked was almost like kind of like an emulation of a human. Like it's almost like they programmed her to blink, every once in a
yeah.
while. But then it got better. Like she became more natural over the course of the movie. Like even
That's
her
true.
voice changed. Like it went from very robotic ish, and then it had its own natural cadence as she developed a personality.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it just phenomenal. I really like that.
Uh,
It's just so weird to talk about that with like a horror comedy movie, but I feel like horror has been getting really good in the last 20 years.
right.
And this is a part of that.
Let me ask you, why do you think um it was such a big hit with queer audiences?
Well, as you know, I am the representative of all queer people. So, as a diplomat, um,
I just want your opinion intellectually.
I think it's because she's sassy and fashionable and she dances. That's
That's
like
it.
that's big queer energy is
Okay.
is really like powerful females, and that's what Megan is.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So she's very secure in herself, whatever Megan is, and Megan
Yeah.
decides who she is in this movie. She dances pretty well. And she's sassy, like you said, like she's just really sassy. And
Yeah.
queer people love that shit.
Okay. Okay.
What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I can't. I kept thinking about like Notes on Camp by Susan Sontag, and how like her whole thing was like camp is about kind of like if media if most media is made not for you, how do you get pleasure out of reading the media? You
Hmm.
read it in an alternative way. Um, but I think
Right.
there are holes in that too, because one of the big things that Susan Sontag says in that essay is camp can't know it's camp. Like true camp has to be trying to be serious, and then it's read as camp. But this movie clearly, at least at some point in the process, became funnier. It may not have started that way. It may
Hmm.
have it may have after the first trailer went viral, they may have gone back and retooled it and made it funnier. That's very possible.
It
Um,
could be.
but some of these sometimes camp trying to be camp doesn't work. Like Sharknado, things like that don't do it for me because it's like, okay, you're trying to be bad and you can't try to be a bad movie. But
Right.
this movie knows what it's doing, yet it's still good. It's good pastiche. It really feels and smells and tastes like a horror movie,
Hmm.
right? It doesn't feel like a parody of a horror movie. It feels like it is a horror movie that between the lines is actually hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, though, Susan Sontag did write, that definitive writing on camp, but I would argue now we're at a point that camp is not something trying to be serious anymore. It's almost like camp has evolved to a point where it is
Yeah.
being jokey with its own, with itself, with its messaging, with its attitude. And I don't know, I think maybe that's a natural progress.
Yeah.
postmodern
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah,
postmodern
yeah. Right. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
and
Right.
she's dead, so she can't really comment on that anymore.
Right.
uh,
Because you could say part of what makes this work, right, is how well, well worn all of these tropes are. The AI robot doll who like is gonna kill you, like that's been done so many times. Maybe if it were a more unique idea, it wouldn't work. Maybe it works
hmm,
because it's so rote.
that's an interesting theory.
Because on paper, right, there's no reason this movie should be good. If I just told you, oh, there's a movie coming out, it's about a little girl whose parents die and her aunt invents a robot that hangs out with her and then she turns deadly. I've seen that. I've seen, there's been a million bad and worse movies like that. But somehow it made a lot of money. It was very critically well liked. It's getting a sequel. People
It's
really
getting a
like it.
sequel. Yeah, of
Yes.
course it is.
Of course it
um
is. I don't know if it's going to be good. My fear is that because it's a sequel, they're going to try to go bigger and they're going to lose the balance.
I think I feel like that's what's going to happen, and then you and I are going to be one of those people that just pretend it doesn't exist. Like
Right.
it's like I don't know what you're talking about. Megan 4, we saw Megan. There's
Right.
only that.
Right. Although
Um
I do have to say, on a completely different note, um, if it got insane, I might also love it. Like if Megan 2 was about like Megan takes a like on her own, like takes a trip across country and like befriends an 80-year-old woman and you know like joins a child's like a beauty pageant. Like if it just got bananas, I might be like, okay, I'm on board.
okay, so you're saying it has to either be like kind of similar terms to what it is now, or so hyped up and ridiculous. Like it goes beyond what it is. And that's really all the only places it could work.
Right. It would have to become, in the case of the latter of it being crazy, you would have to forget about Katie and Alice and Gemma and any of the humans. It would have to just be literally about Megan. Like Megan is the protagonist and she's the one we're following. She's in every scene.
I feel like that's what it has to be though, because we finished Megan and Gemma and Katie's story. There's not much more we can go with that. They went through the whole gamut
Right.
of
But I would bet that they're going to put them in it. I mean,
in some way, yeah.
the end seems to imply one of two things because the very last thing she had the like Iron Man, the Gemma played by Allison Williams, her house has like an AI, and at the very end, the last shot you see the AI look at the camera, which could either mean that Megan's consciousness is uploaded into that AI and can come back, or Megan taught the AI in the house to be smarter.
So basically, you're saying the sequel might be Smart House, which Disney did already.
Right. Well, no, I think it would start that way, and then much like a Chucky movie, she would have to find a body to get back into. She would go from the house AI into another robot body.
Right.
Because the style is so important, right? It's got to look like M3GAN. It's got to be the M3GAN we know and love.
So probably it would be like hypothetically the house AI gets into another version of M3GAN. And
Right.
they also opened that up to that employee who is stealing secrets. And that's another possibility is
Yeah.
that other whoever he was sending or trying to sell those secrets to would just develop another version of M3GAN.
No matter what the sequel's about, I would bet anything that in the world of the sequel, they did manufacture the M3GAN dolls, and there are M3GAN dolls in the world of the sequel.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened with the Chucky's too, right? They kept making Chucky. They kept making whatever. What was his name? What was the cat? What was the toy's name? My Buddy is what it was in real life.
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
remember, but it was also the ugliest friggin' thing I've ever seen. I can't fathom why.
Good guy. He was a good guy doll.
Oh, wow, that's really a rip of My
Yeah.
Buddy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was absolutely My Buddy. It was absolutely My Buddy.
Which My Buddy was just a doll for boys.
Oh yeah. What by the way, what version did you watch, the unrated version or the theatrical version?
Theatrical.
So the unrated, it's not very different. It's just bloodier and gorier. You see more of the death, like the lady who gets killed by the power washer.
Oh,
You see like her face get like peeled off with the power washer.
jeez.
It's pretty sick, bro. Sick.
I would like to see more gruesome. If there is a sequel, I want to see M3GAN go all out. I want to see these Rube Goldberg like mechanizations of killing people. And I also appreciate in this movie how quick she gets to killing people. Like she's really for it immediately.
Right. There's so M3GAN, by the way, the name of the toy company that's making M3GAN is called Funky, which is a very clear riff on Funko.
Right.
Let's see. What did you think? And again, this is played seriously, but also it's interesting because it's serious and therefore sad, but also is kind of funny. What did you think about all the scenes of Allison Williams as a terrible caregiver?
Oh, it's hilarious. I think it, like I said, like this movie really like wants you to understand it, so it holds your hand. And I think though there's a good balance there, so it's not. I don't feel like I'm being talked down to necessarily, but they really. I think we needed all that. We needed those instances of Allison Williams dropping the ball and just realizing that too slowly, I might add, way too slowly, that she has to be a fucking parent. Like this is it.
Yeah. Right. Her sister and husband die in an accident, and their daughter Katie is left orphaned, and so Allison Williams takes her in. But she really just cares about her career, and she's like a scientist slash toy maker AI person. And like she's
robotics, yeah.
Yeah, and she basically uses M3GAN as a caretaker. She lets M3GAN take care of the kids so she doesn't have to.
Right, and become basically the emotional crutch.
Right.
And I thought that was really smart because I feel like that's kind of what people like. It's never malicious or like it's never like Gemma doesn't like Katie. It's just that she is so out of her element and she goes into what feels comfortable, which is using technology to do the stuff that she's supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And that's really the theme of the movie is like, no, you can't do that. And there's even a character who plays a social worker in that movie that says that when are you spending time with this girl? I have to see you guys interact. If you have her just play with this doll all the time, she's going to get attached to it and not attached to real people.
Right. Yeah. And in a ham-handed way, it's trying to make some sort of statement about media, because like the little girl almost when they take M3GAN away, the little girl acts like an addict. who's not getting the drugs she's addicted to, she starts like freaking out. And I mean, the way we're introduced to the girl is she's like on her iPad, and her mom's like, I thought we were gonna tell her to have less screen time. And the dad's like, yeah, but she'd be running around crazy if she didn't. So let's just
Well,
let her
she's
have it.
on the iPad playing with a toy that has an app. So she's
Right. It's
playing
like a
with
Furby
this.
that farts.
It's a Furby that you feed with the app, with the iPad, and then it like shits. And I don't.
Right.
And Mike, do you remember when that was a thing? Like dolls, not the necessarily an app, but dolls would have like body reactions.
Yeah, yeah. Right. Yeah, like the milk bottle, or there were numerous dolls that would like shit.
Or yeah, it would wet their like
Yeah.
you put water in it and it would wet its diaper. Or like there
Yeah.
was a doll that was recalled that would chew food, but then like kids' hair was getting stuck in the and it would
Yeah.
just like mechanically like rip their hair out. And I'm just like, why was this a thing? I forgot this was a thing. 'Cause,
That's
I'm
a
not a parent and
It's
I'm in my
interesting. It's
30s.
interesting, like the scatological, like why would you why would you? That's so funny. Dude, there was a Barbie doll that like grew up. You could make the doll grow up, and like you would take its arm and you would twist its arm backwards and around, and by doing that, the mechanism would like make tits come out. So like it grew tits basically.
Oh my God, I do not remember that. I do remember the shaving. I'm probably remembering the title wrong, but it was like Shaving Magic Ken, where he would like develop like 5 o'clock shadow, and then you would like use some kind of fake razor and shave him. And I'm just like, who designed this? And why would kids want to do this? This seems very boring.
Do you remember Gay Ken?
Yes.
What was his real name though?
Earring Magic Ken.
Earring Magic Ken. Right. And I guess they weren't trying to make a gay Ken, but they made a very gay Ken.
And I think that's actually your definition, the definition of camp that Susan Sontag wants us to know.
Yes, right.
It was so unintentional. They were just trying to make cool Ken, but they gave him like one earring on the right side.
Right.
He looked like he was wearing makeup, but I don't know if
It
that
looked
was
like he was going
intentional.
to like a rave.
Yeah. He had a oh yeah, he had a choker. I was like,
Right.
this is the gayest thing I've ever
I
seen.
believe he had a ring around his neck.
Yeah.
Not the choker, but like a little ring that people said like looked like a cock ring. Like so it looked like he had sex toys and he was
Oh
gay
my
Ken.
that's what people would call it. Like it was
Yeah.
called Earring Magic Ken. I actually years ago I read an article about this. It's like, yeah, but like at toy stores, gay men would be going to like toy stores and be like, I want the gay Ken.
Yeah. Can you give me gay Ken, please? I wonder if gay Ken will be in the Barbie movie.
God, I hope so. Oh my God, I'm so looking forward to that.
Let's talk a little bit. Let's take a little side conversation about the Barbie movie. I'm also very
Absolutely.
excited about it. It's written and directed. Well, it's written by no, it's directed by Greta Gerwig, which is wild. But it's written by Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach. Like what? Like and god damn. I was saying like the only thing I don't know what it is just from the trailers, but I'm thinking it's going to be something like the Brady Bunch movie from the 90s. Do you remember that? It kind of like did it in a funny parody way.
That's what it seems like from the trailer.
Right.
But it also seems like it's a Barbie, like, I mean, it doesn't seem, it is. It's a Barbie world. Like they're real, but they also know that they're Barbies because they call all the women call each other Barbie, and then all the men are Kens.
Right.
But they're all different actors.
Right.
Um, yeah, it seems so. I don't even know how to call it. It's just the aesthetic is fantastic.
Oh, the pink. It just looks so cool. It just looks good. Do you have your Do you have your rollerblades? Yes. I don't go anywhere without them.
I remember those rollerblades too. My sister had a Ken doll that
Yeah.
had highlighter color rollerblades.
Right. Yeah, and they
Um,
look just like it. Like the way everything looks plastic. And I don't know if you
yeah,
saw this in the trailer. Kate McKinnon plays, I think, like a Barbie doll that a kid destroyed. Like she has like cut hair and like marker on her face.
yeah. I'm wondering if it's kind of like the Lego movie where it's like
Oh yeah.
I think that's where it's going. Where it's like there's a human world, but then like the Barbie world is real to the Barbies.
Yeah.
But that I'm liking these new toy movies. It's I think like the 80s toy movies were trying too hard to be kind of serious. And
Yeah.
like these are, I think we're just, let's just have fun because we're making a fucking Barbie movie.
Right,
And
right,
that's
right.
that's what that feeling comes from that trailer is like, this is utterly absurd.
Right. Let's talk about the first, is it the first death? No, the first death is the woman next door, right? Or her dog technically
The
is the first.
dog.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
dog dies in this movie, folks. If you can't deal with that, then it's not the movie for you.
You know, I gotta say, when I saw that dog and I saw how the Katie, the little kid, who by the way, that actor is doing an amazing job.
Right? She's
Um,
she's being sincere too. Like you really feel bad for the like feel bad this little girl lost her parents.
yeah, and she's acting, and I think I text this to you this week. It's like you notice that like little kids are acting like little kids now. Like it's not like when we were younger, when little kids just like really felt like they were reading a script and being
Yeah,
like and sat like either really babyish or like an adult is feeding them lines.
yeah.
And here it's like Katie felt like a kid. Like I could have met her and she was a real person. So the first death is Allison Williams has this weirdo neighbor, this middle-aged woman who has a dog, and they don't get along. And Allison Williams it's very clear that she can't stand this dog.
Yeah.
And there's a hole in her fence, but because Allison Williams is working all the time, she never takes care of it. So the dog goes through the fence
Mhm.
and actually attacks Katie. Megan
Right.
sees this, Megan sees her fear, and she decides to take the dog out because her
Right, because
prime directive
right,
is
her
to protect
primitive was
Katie.
protect Katie.
Yeah. So, man. And I knew this was going to happen. And I'm the kind of person I actually don't like when animals die in movies.
Right, of course,
Like,
no one does.
it's upsetting to me. I don't want to see that. But I
Right.
was like, you know what? Let me just stick this out. And it ended up being okay. You know what?
Yeah, you
I
don't see it. You don't see it.
you don't see it and you don't see the dog's body. So I'm
No.
grateful for that.
Right, right, right.
But Megan takes out this dog and we don't really know she lures it, right? She
Right. She
like
uses the neighbor's voice.
that was cool.
Yeah.
I
And
gotta
then
say that
she
was
does
really
the
cool.
opposite to get the neighbor. She uses the bark of the dog to lure the neighbor in.
And then she gets yes, and then she kills the neighbor because the
Power
neighbor
washes her face off. What a
amazing.
great death. What a great way to kill somebody.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot. How did she kill the dog?
So she goes, I guess, to the fence and she starts calling the dog with the neighbor's voice. And the dog just kind of looks through the hole, and then there's a little bit of a jump scare as she grabs the dog, and that's basically it. She just grabs the dog, and then it cuts.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So then the next morning, the neighbors outside like, Dewey, just calling for the dog's name, and then they was looking at her, and then the cop comes to the door, and the neighbors in the distance. She's like, she did it, she killed him. And he's like, I told you to stay back, ma'am. The cops are pretty funny in this movie, like how like inept they are.
Yeah, it's a different kind of it's the ineptness though is not due to stupidity, and I feel like that's what I'm used to is like dumb cops. But in this movie, it's not so much dumb; it just seems like they're blasé, like they
Right,
just don't really care.
right, right.
It's like, and I'm like, okay, a lot of people feel that way about their jobs, but I don't know how I feel about cops investigating missing people or murdered people, feeling so indifferent towards whatever's happening.
Right, 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 right.
um it makes it worse. But have this is a little sidetrack, but did you notice that Megan looks exactly like Elizabeth Olsen? And I was wondering if that was intentional.
Yeah. I don't know if I did notice it until you just said it. That could very well be intentional. I mean, see, you know what she struck me as? Even though she's way bigger, she struck me as like an American Girl doll.
Mm.
Just the sort of like style and like the pin straight hair. But yeah, she does look like um
Elizabeth Olsen,
yeah. No, she know what she looks like? She looks like Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen, who
which
were like
is
child stars who
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
they're Elizabeth Olsen's older sisters.
right, but they were like dolls themselves. They were a
They had dolls of
commodity.
themselves. I actually had dolls of now that oh my
Yeah.
god, I forgot about this. I had Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen dolls, and they were like Barbies with their
Yeah.
little faces on it.
Did you watch their detective videos? They'll solve the
Yeah,
crime by dinner time.
I've had a few of those. Yes, I've also had. They had like, oh man, I forgot about that. They
They
were
had a
in
fucking they had an enterprise, man.
an empire of little kid media and
Yeah,
toys. There's one where they were like, there's detectives. They had various movies. I remember the one where they were like going to grandma's house and stuff
yeah,
happens. They had multiple television shows. I think the last thing they did as actors was like a movie called New York Minute that no one saw. And then
yes, yeah.
they were like, yeah, we're not doing this anymore.
Was there any part of the movie that scared you?
No.
Okay.
I felt like I saw everything coming.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
What about
What
you?
What do you think was did anything scare me? I guess the jump scare with the dog kind of got me. Um, is there what do you think was the funniest part for you?
Hmm. Actually, the stuff, you know what? I don't know if it scared me, but it kind of chilled me a little bit is that shitty little kid that was
Yeah.
fucking with Katie at the outdoor school bullshit.
Yeah, that was pretty
Whatever that
fun.
was.
Yeah. That
That
was
was fun.
making fun of like liberal assholes.
Yeah.
Like the whole like, oh, we're our class is literally gonna be in nature. And then the mother's like, oh, my son's very different. He learns differently. Isn't that right? And he's like, fuck you, mom. And she's like, oh, like I was so hilarious. And fucking Gemma's like, oh my god, how old is he?
Well, Gemma was horrified about all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think when Megan tore off that kid's ear, that kind of really freaked me out.
Yeah. You gotta watch the
Um,
unrated version. She really tears that fucking thing off. She
oh,
says something very cool though. She says something very me too in that moment. She says like, what does she say? Oh, I have it written down. She says something like, bad boys. Oh, bad boys grow up to be bad men. And she
yeah,
rips his fucking ear off.
that's very in the zeitgeist. And then she
Yeah.
chases him down. He gets hit by a car.
Right. So
Um,
she doesn't kill him necessarily.
no, but she kind of leads him to it.
Means him.
I think she knew where she was chasing him.
Right.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
that whole
he,
sequence is funny. Like when they're like, "Oh, Megan, she Gemma goes, okay, Megan can come, but she's got to sit on the toy shelf." And then you see just Megan sitting in like a shelf with a bunch of stuffed animals, and then all the hippie shit. The teacher who's like, "Oh, you have another little girl? Oh, Jesus Christ!" When she sees that it's a robot.
that was funny. Did you notice that when the neighbor is egging the police officer on,
Hmm.
she was like, ask the other little girl, the one that's still staring out the window at 3 a.m. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Because every time we see Megan go to bed, Katie is sitting on the windowsill facing the room. But from what the neighbor is saying, it's like as soon as Katie goes to sleep, Megan's just staring outside.
Right.
And
Right. Megan
that's
has this little perch that I guess is what charges her. It's like she sits on it and it lights up. But then yeah, well there's one scene where Katie's outside like playing with a like a bow and arrow and you just see Megan like looking around like evolving.
yeah, it's like that's her adaptability thing. She was probably watching for patterns with the dog.
Yeah,
That's probably
yeah.
why she was staring out the window for 2 days, is
Yeah.
because she was trying to figure out a way to get rid of this dog because she has to protect Katie.
It is funny that some characters think that she's an actual child and some are very clearly like that's a robot.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. I was wondering if it's because just people don't pay attention to children. So they just see like something that's 4 feet tall, and usually dolls aren't that big generally, and she's just
Yeah.
standing there. Um, though I gotta say the wig is pretty good. The face is what's makes her look, like not like a person.
Right. Synthetic looking.
Yeah, that's definitely intentional. It's that uncanny valley thing where it kind of looks like a human but not.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I did like those little scenes. I thought that was great. Um,
There's a great
um,
sequence where it's like a montage of Megan and Katie sort of getting to know each other and like developing like a friendship. But while that's happening, we're hearing Gemma read copy of like what the commercial would be for Megan. But it sort of
yeah,
plays like it is a commercial and like like Gemma's like, Katie, you have to flush after you go to the bathroom. And then like you see Katie come out of the bathroom and Megan's like, Katie, don't forget to wash your hands. And then like you see her again come out of the bathroom and she's like, Katie, seriously, wash your hands. And like she high fives them. Like the more like Megan gets a personality, the funnier it is. Because she kind of starts off like a real little girl, but then she ends up kind of like talking down to Katie. Because there's one point at the end where she's like gone crazy and she's talking to Gemma and she's like, you know, we're she like says like we're co-parenting her. And she's like, you know, what she actually acts like she feels jilted. Like she's like, you know, when you were developing me, we'd be up all night talking, and now you don't pay attention to me at all. It's a very weird turn that happens.
Yeah. And I'm wondering at what point does Megan decide that like she doesn't need to follow that prime directive anymore? Have you noticed that? It's kind of
Yeah.
like near the end, it's like I'm here to protect you or we could be together or something. But it also seems like you don't have a choice.
But
So
right. But she does in the end, she does want to fulfill the prime directive because her scheme in the end is to make Gemma paraplegic. So she'd still be the guardian, but then she would take care of the kid and I guess be able to like do whatever she wants to do or whatever. It's pretty
right.
sick, actually.
It's disturbing. It was
You talked a little bit before about her movements and how her movements change. What did you think about the way that she ran?
see that was also something that was it was I wouldn't say it was scary, but it was unsettling. Like it was a reminder that she isn't human. Like the way she kind of galloped
Right,
like an animal. Like
right. But that's what's interesting, right? Because it's not like robotic. It's not like she flies or something. She actually acts more feral.
yeah, which is where did that come from? Because they definitely didn't design her to do that. So I'm wondering if that came from analyzing media and seeing how animals
Right.
hunt. Because
It's when right.
because she also hunts. Like it's not even
Uh-huh.
her kills. They're not all spontaneous. I mean, when she kills those two guys in the elevator, and she slowly walks like she knows she's gonna get them.
Yeah.
But it does seem like she's hunting. And it's like, I don't know, it kind of made me feel like almost that the movie was saying that she's like a predator, an apex predator.
Right, right, right. Right. And she well, yeah, she's running after that kid, the kid who she rips his ear off when he starts running and she then gets down on all fours and gallops like that. And then there's the way she dances. There's she'll bend herself backwards. She uses her body in crazy ways.
Yeah. And again, it's like, why did they design her to have those capabilities? Like, why was she made of titanium?
Why did she sing Titanium? How about that?
Well,
When
that was funny.
I'm bulletproof, nothing to lose. Just
Yeah,
the yeah.
you notice though, the first time she sang, it almost sounded like auto tune, and then later on, it sounded more like a person's voice,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
again, adaptable. Um,
Yeah, we should say that so Megan when her body was a child actor, a child named Amy Donald from New Zealand who's actually a professional dancer. She actually won an Olympic medal dancing. And Megan is voiced by Jenna Davis, who both acts on screen and does voiceover work. She was on Sophia the First and Infinity Train. She's the voice of Megan. And I think the voice is one of the things that makes it work so well. Because she has this sort of like fake mean girlness. Like, especially when she turns, like she'll be like, you know, she'll be so sunny and bright when she's talking to Katie, but then she'll turn and be so chilling. Like, there's a scene where Gemma and Katie are fighting, and Katie's like gonna kill Gemma, and I'm sorry, Gemma and Megan are fighting, and Katie comes out of the bedroom. She's like, "What's going on out there? Do I hear Megan's voice?" And Megan's like, "Oh yeah, she's just working on me. I don't want you to see me like this. I'm a little bit all over the place." And then she goes to Jenna. She's like, "If you say anything, I'll break your fucking neck right now." Like the way she the turn she has from going like bubbly, like basically she code switches. She code switches from like being bubbly with the kid to being like very cutting with other people.
It's great. It's chilling. It's also just really funny. And it's back to that like really good balance of
Yeah.
kind of horror and comedy. Um, so Gemma is a toy designer, but
Yeah.
it also they demonstrate that she's working on this stupid fake Furby thing
Yeah.
that she doesn't give a crap about. But she's also into robotics because a she built what she called Bruce,
Yeah.
which was a robot that, the human would wear gloves and moves, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But what I was wondering is just why did she go into toys? Because it seems like that's not necessarily a creative outlet, or
Right.
it
Right.
wouldn't be. Like, why wouldn't she work for like Boston Dynamics or something where they make robots that dance and walk and
Right. Well,
do shit?
I think the movie does have something to say about media in a way because or technology, right? Because the movie equates technology with toys and it equates toys with escapism.
Hmm.
Because like at one point at the end when Gemma like becomes a good caregiver, she's like, "You know what? Like your parents died. You should be sad. You should be going through something. It was wrong to just give you M3GAN to just try to make you happy. Like you can't escape those feelings. It's kind of like the movie's trying to say like we use media to numb ourselves, or we use technology to escape from the hardships of life.
Right.
And I think in there is why. I mean, there's also the obvious screenwriting reason of how do you get the little girl to have like it's got to be a toy, but clearly the
Hmm.
character is interested in toys, right? Because when she first brings Katie home, Katie's like looking at her toys, and Gemma's like, "Oh, those aren't toys; those are collectibles. Don't touch these." So she must have
Right.
some interest in toys.
Yeah. And especially when the social worker is trying to encourage them to play together. And it's like, and Gemma's just so serious about her toys too. She's like, well, it has more functions than
Yeah,
just rolling. Like,
yeah. Okay, we'll just roll it like a ball then.
I like how she gets so sad. Like, she gets like so particular about it. It reminds me of just, like adult toy collectors.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would not like a child to touch my toys. I'd be like, get the fuck out of here. These
That's
are
fair.
mine to look at and dust and rearrange sometimes.
Yeah. What do you think about that, the messaging of the movie, and that technology and toys are just an escapism for like reality or moving away from reality?
Well, I think it makes sense. I mean, like they do have that good thing in the beginning with Katie on the iPad. Like I remember years and years ago when I was a waiter, I would see that. I would see kids at the table just mesmerized, hypnotized by their screens, and the parents were totally fine with it because it shut them up. And
Mm,
I would have toys and stuff but and I'm not saying look these kids. I'm not trying to be an old man and saying like kids these days, blah 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 blah, but it is a completely different experience than my childhood experience. I mean, like we had TV and I could watch TV, but I remember being told like don't sit too close to it, go outside, don't always watch TV. But now like screens are just such a ubiquitous part of everyday life.
mm. Yeah, that's true. It's hard to, because a television is static, so it's basically a piece of furniture. You can't take it around with you, but now it's like you can take it anywhere.
Right,
I
right, right.
And so it doesn't escape. Though I feel like this movie is very like in the zeitgeist of that conversation. I feel like in 20 years it's gonna just be more like a time capsule.
Well, what's interesting is like AI has come back again recently as like a big buzzword in our culture, but it's different from the AI that we always imagined, right? Because we used to imagine AI as like robots or like sentient artificial beings. But what AI tends to be now is like like they are thinking machines, but it's like we think of AI as like AI images or AI stories or AI footage. Like we think of like media that gets pulled out of AI operating systems. Like, well, it'll I mean, a lot of us have done this, right? You give it a bunch of pictures of yourself, some of these apps, and then it'll come with all these AI images of you in all these different styles. And then there's websites where you can just type in like, Ninja Turtles eating dinner with Shakespeare, and it'll make it for you. You know what I mean? Which is, and then there's also fears. There's fears that like kids can now like get AIs to like write them term papers. And it's not even like someone else had it. It's like a fresh term paper just written by an AI. And this is something teachers are afraid of. So AI in our public consciousness it's become something different from, I guess, what we thought it would be.
Right. But I mean, it still gets things wrong. I feel like the fear, I think, is kind of not in the reality. Because if you look at GPT, for example, if you look at if you read their readings, it's fine, but it there's nothing unique or original about it. Like, yes, it compiled all this data and information into a new piece, but it really just it reads rote, and but that's when it gets it right.
Right.
Because a lot of time, if you have to actually be careful when you're submitting like AI written stuff, because AI actually makes things up sometimes.
Yeah.
It can't think. It doesn't think. It just takes similarities or takes like what can fit into a category and then brings it together. And it's gotten way better than it used to be, but it's nowhere near. Have you seen like what's been going around lately is like AI videos of like making like people putting in a prompt of like a pizza commercial.
Right, or like the big one from the last couple of weeks was Wes Anderson direct a Star Wars movie. Did you see that one?
I didn't see that one.
It's basically they put it into some operating system and it came out and they did some voiceover over it and made it look like a trailer, and it's basically what Star Wars looked like directed by Wes Anderson. It's what it is. See, I think not to be totally like pedantic or whatever, but the way that an AI thinks isn't it the same way we think? Aren't we just operating systems? I mean, I'm not making up my own words. I'm not making up my own sounds and syllables. I'm just a machine that is consuming media and information around me. And when I think I'm being creative, I'm really just reconfiguring what I've already consumed in ways that I think are somewhat unique.
Well, you have critical thinking skills. AI can't do that. It can't think. You have to keep giving it prompts. It will never be able to emulate a human brain. But can it do stuff that we don't want to do? Yeah. But like some of these are like looking up AI images. Some of them turn out great and indistinguishable, and some of them look ridiculous.
It can't get fingers right. It has a problem with fingers.
If you watch that pizza commercial one, it's surreal because it doesn't it has some of the same instances of like family eating around pizza. Here's a shot of pizza. But then there's also like chewing and like the way that people are moving is so not human.
All right, I'm gonna put. I have not seen this, so I'm looking at it right now. AI pizza commercial. Okay, yeah,
it can't get finite details right. It can get a good enough copy, but we're not in a place right now where AI will be able to think like us. Probably in 20 years.
I think we're close. I think we're very close. I think we're also very close to like because like a lot of like when they use AI in mainstream, they'll start with AI and then they'll go in and touch it up and have someone fix it.
Yeah.
Like the new Indiana Jones movie, the first 30 minutes is in the past. And I don't know if you've seen any of this footage, but it looks like young Harrison Ford. And I think the next step is like new movies starring dead celebrities, like a new Humphrey Bogart movie.
So that joke that The Simpsons did 30 years ago.
I'm sure, yeah, The Simpsons did it. They always did.
Well, there's a Treehouse of Horror episode where Homer gets into the business of murdering celebrities so that companies can use their likenesses in commercials.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, it's good because he kills them in very interesting ways. But that's basically it. It's just like he kills Krusty so Krusty can be in a commercial
Right.
and like stuff like that. There's also a BoJack Horseman episode where the entire season is him trying to make a movie and he's failing, but then they figure out the technology and they just scan his face and then they put it in like a computer generated, and the movie is actually great, but he doesn't do any of it. It's just scanned your face and then other
Yeah.
things. So people have been talking about this for a little bit in some ways.
Right. And the scary thing that could happen is like, you know, some person like making like a very realistic looking video of like Vladimir Putin, blowing Obama. You know what I mean? Or like,
well, the deep fakes already
yeah,
here.
yeah, and some crazy person online believes it because people believe the fucking world's flat. People believe, vaccines cause autism. People believe all sorts of nonsense, and someone will believe it and be like, oh, don't you see? Or like, don't you know Obama's really a fucking lizard?
I mean, we believe that now without AI technology.
Right, right.
We're very susceptible, but I think it's kind of like there's still going to be a place for people, and I don't think AI can come to that conclusion yet that doesn't need us anymore. We'll be long dead before that happens.
Oh, I hope so.
Young millennials and stuff would have to deal with that.
So what do you think about this? Almost every person that M3GAN kills is not a good person. There's no innocent victims. Everyone she kills is somebody that is unlikable in some way.
That's true.
Other than the dog, but you could also argue that the dog is mean and bites Katie and should have been leashed or whatever. I mean, I'm not for violence towards animals, but the movie seems to be like depicting the dog as something menacing.
That's true. All the people are menacing and a threat in some way. I mean, it kind of makes sense though, because if we're going by the M3GAN's prime directive, which is to protect Katie, and protecting Katie means keeping her from harmful people. Except actually, well, because at the end, then she kills those two guys at the company, and it's not really protecting Katie at that point.
I mean, in the long-term plan, it is, right? Because she's got to get home to paralyze Gemma.
Right.
But what's really disturbing is when that guy, Kurt, the like lackey of the boss who's been stealing secrets, she's like, she kills the boss and then the blood gets all over Kurt. And she's like, how can you kill somebody? And she's like, I didn't. You killed him. He knew that you were stealing secrets. And then he confronted you and you killed him. But now you're going to kill yourself. And like, she had it all planned out.
Yeah, premeditated murder.
Yeah.
That was good. I don't know how I feel about it because I'll be honest, I don't have a lot of sympathy for any of these characters. They're just flawed people, Like I don't think anyone's necessarily evil except for that kid Brandon, who is a lot like Sid from Toy Story, if you think about it.
Right. He's also depicted in sort of a metaphorical or allegorical sex offender way. Like he steals M3GAN against the girl's wishes, and then he puts her body on the ground and like gets on top of it.
Yeah, I really thought he was gonna assault this.
Yeah, there's a moment where you're like, oh, is this gonna go there? And he does, and he just starts hitting it. But then she says that thing about bad boys become bad men. So it's almost like allegorically he's that kind of person.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's kind of weird because you just don't feel bad, really.
Well, you know what? It's like the later like Jason movies or like the later Freddy movies. Like you're really just watching Freddy kill people. You're there for Freddy. They just started that way. They just were like, you know what? Everyone loves M3GAN. You're gonna love M3GAN. So we're not gonna have M3GAN kill anybody innocently. Because I feel like the movie would be different. Or it wouldn't really work the way that it does if like M3GAN killed Katie. Or like if M3GAN killed truly innocent people. It would make you feel different about M3GAN.
So are you saying, do you think that by having M3GAN only kill unsympathetic characters, it's kind of making her more likable? Like you think it wouldn't work if she
makes
killed
her less
Gemma?
scary.
Okay.
And likable, but likable in real like quotes, like not likable, but like you love a bitch. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
she's a she's a bad bitch. Do you have a favorite M3GAN outfit?
Well, I like her original outfit with the big bow tie.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's kind of like it's kind of retro in a sense because it is like almost like a 1900s kind of kids outfit, but
Yeah.
modern. And I
Yes,
like
yes.
that.
Yeah, that's the one I feel like reminds me of American Girls.
And I that makes sense.
I really like the pea coat she's wearing in the scene with the like the far in the woods with the class. She's wearing like a
Oh,
blue pea coat.
but it's like, why is she wearing a pea coat? she's a she's a doll.
Right. Why does she wear sunglasses? She wears sunglasses multiple times.
I guess in that sense, it's really more about her just how do you say it? I guess it's just her emulating like children outfits. Like again, just like that kind of becoming growing a personality.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, why does she have different outfits? Um I can't really other than
But what is
she's
Barbie? Like it's fun, I guess. But I wonder, does M3GAN dress herself or does Katie dress M3GAN? She just shows up in outfits. We never see her change.
well, I feel like that would be weird because they're the same height. So it'd be almost like Katie dressing up another little girl, right?
Yeah.
Um but yeah, what did you think
So where's she getting her clothes from?
I good question. Like did they thrift? Did they is that part of the I wrote this down. They used $100,000 of company funds to make M3GAN,
Right. Which
which
is
that would get
insane.
you put in prison. Like that's
Right.
just wild.
Right.
Um yeah, but what did you think about also like the way M3GAN played Katie played with M3GAN was kind of now that you brought up the dress up thing, it's like I feel like it wasn't really like she was playing with M3GAN like you would play with a doll. She was playing with M3GAN like M3GAN was a person.
Right.
So
Like
she
a
wouldn't
friend. Yeah.
yeah, you wouldn't dress up your friend. I mean, you would maybe help her pick out outfits or something, but we don't ever see that. It's more like them spending quality time together that the caregiver should have been doing.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. Well, I love it. It's fun as hell. I think it's very hard to make horror comedies. I mean, think
yeah,
about how many are bad.
so many.
I think to make it good, one can't affect the other. The horror can't the horrific elements can't be jokey, and the comedy elements can't be scary.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like even think about something more sophisticated like Get Out, right? Like Get Out has comedy in it. Like it's gotta like be two things at once, but not exactly at the same time.
Midsommar also had some comedy in it,
Yeah.
just like with when all the women in the village were like pushing the naked boyfriend on the
Yeah.
that I mean that was and they
Yeah.
were emulating the voice like that was funny, but you're right, they can't overlap. It
Right.
just kind of has to exist and make sense within like
Right.
that's hard. That's really hard. Can you
Right.
think of other horror comedies that are good? Like not necessarily like maybe not M3GAN good, but like good on its own because I can't think of any.
Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, I think are.
Oh, well,
Some
okay, yeah.
people some people consider Ghostbusters a horror comedy. I don't know if I do. I think it's a fantasy comedy that has some jump scares.
I agree with you. I don't think that's a horror. Just because it has ghosts in it. Have you noticed that sometimes people kind of make those mistakes? Like just because something has like a ghost or a monster
Right.
or something in it, it means it's horror. But just because you have that element doesn't necessarily mean the thing in itself is horror.
Right. Yeah.
It's like
I
people are
can't.
mixing up
Yeah.
genre with
Right. Like another, here's an example, Beetlejuice. I don't think Beetlejuice, people call that a horror comedy, but I don't think Beetlejuice is scary at all. It's more of like a gothic fantasy comedy.
I think it's because we as humans try to categorize everything with what makes sense to us.
Sure. Yeah.
And there really isn't a lot of gothic comedy. So I can't think of any.
Did you
Um,
see that movie that's on um Shutter? I think it's called Glorious, about like the glory hole.
yes, I did.
What did you think of that?
I thought it was fun.
It was fun, but the end got too dark. See, that's the thing.
Okay.
I feel like it's hard to strike the balance. You got to get that balance right. That's one of the hard things, like how much of each ingredient.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, because you know what? Also, in that movie, it's funny for almost the whole movie, and then it gets scary. It's not
Right.
like it doesn't like weave into both.
And it has a sort of twist ending that's kind of super dark, and it's like uh
Yeah, it takes you out of it. It's like
yeah,
you're
yeah,
laughing at J.K. Simmons being this disembodied voice in a stall, and
yeah.
then he gets really, gross, dark, and weird. But you're right. It's hard. It's a really hard tightrope to walk. Evil Dead 1 and 2, but I can't.
You
Can you
haven't
think of any?
we've established that you haven't seen those.
No,
uh
I did. It's been so long though. I just doesn't register anymore, and I feel like that's something I do need to go back to.
I'm sure there's some that I'll think of tomorrow and be like, oh, I can't believe I forgot that.
Drag
But
Me to
right,
Hell.
I haven't seen that actually. Is that a horror comedy?
Uh, is it?
I'm gonna straight up
Um,
Google horror comedies and see what we get.
okay. Okay. Yes. Yes. So it's a Sam Raimi movie. Drag Me to Hell. It's about a woman that pisses off. I think she's like a gypsy or something. I don't know. It's like dated now, and then she's cursed, by this evil old woman. Um, there is a part with a goat that's weird. Justin Long is in it, which is also weird. But yeah, I can't remember anything that stuck out at me.
I'm seeing three right here that suck. Cocaine Bear, that sucked. Renfield, that sucked.
You saw that?
Yeah, it sucked. No, we walked out. Um, Mars Attacks. It's charming, but it really doesn't work.
Okay.
Um,
I'm saying scary movie, but like scary movie, it's not horror,
it's a
it's
parody.
comedy. It's
Maybe
a
more
parody, yeah.
Scream, but that's more satirical.
Huh. Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the Woods, that could, yeah.
Oh, Ready or Not.
Yes,
That's
yes. Ready,
okay.
yeah, 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 yeah.
But that
Yeah,
was good.
yeah,
Ready
Ready
or Not
was
was
good.
good.
Though they're the ones who do the new Scream movies.
I haven't seen those, but I've been hearing really good stuff.
Yeah, it's weird that a franchise like got a lot better like later.
With more movies.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
the one that just came out, Part Six, made I think the most money any of them have made, which is mind blowing.
Wow.
So there's gonna
Okay.
be so many more.
Oh, one thing that's coming up is House, which we covered on the show.
Yeah,
Would you I don't know if I'd consider
yeah.
that horror.
No, it's got horrific elements, but I don't think any of it's scary. Like I don't any of it's trying to be scary. You know what I mean? I mean, the witch is like
Hmm.
mugging to the camera.
Little Shop of Horrors. Uh,
I haven't
this is
seen the
hard.
original, so maybe the original is, but the musical certainly is straight up comedy. The
The
menu. Did you see the
oh
menu?
no, I want
The
to though.
menu, I think, but even then, it's more thriller comedy. But the
This
menu,
is hard.
yeah, it's a hard thing to do. It's a totally hard thing to do. What about oh wait, what's that one? I think we saw it together. Is it Suicide
Happy
Girls?
Suicide. Oh, but I think that's also
No, no,
in.
not Suicide Girls. Tragedy Girls.
That was good. I was really disappointed that not more people saw that. They kind of just dumped it.
Yeah,
The
Tragedy
studio.
Girls was good.
That okay.
But
Would
was
you
it
say it's
scary?
scary?
No, not
I think
really.
it's. I don't think slashers are really for me. Slashers aren't scary. They're more thrilling.
Right.
Um, but then okay, but then that's I guess what we're saying here then is that to be horror, to be good horror, it has to be scary. Is that what you're saying?
I
Like, is
don't
that
know.
what?
I don't know what I'm saying anymore. It's hard. That's what makes Megan a good movie because it's hard to do this, and it's especially hard when you market it that way too. Like, here's a good one, and I haven't seen it in years, so I can't remember it. I just remember my reaction to it. I remember thinking Megan's Body was a funny horror movie, but it wasn't. It was marketed in a weird way. It like they marketed it as horror, and then when you went to see it, you were like, "Oh, this is not what I thought it was."
Wait, which one is this one?
Jennifer's
Um,
Body. I think I said
Jen-
Megan's Body. Jennifer's Body with Megan
okay.
Fox. Yeah, there's a
Okay,
Megan.
yeah, I didn't see it.
That
Um,
was that was good. Yeah, it's hard to
there,
do. It's hard to
there,
do.
yeah, I would ask, your listeners to put in your favorite horror comedies. Mike and I need to like catch up on. This is clearly
Yeah,
something we're not remembering.
but I feel like some of them are so bad, and I'm looking at you, Shutter original movies. How many of them are just god awful?
Yeah, 90% of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Well,
Absolutely.
Nadia, thank you so much for being here and talking about this cinematic classic, Megan M3GAN.
Oh, Leprechaun. Would that be
It's,
considered horror
it's
comedy?
been so long since I saw that.
Uh,
Is it funny or is it actually funny or scary?
God, I don't remember. It's been forever, but
Yeah, I have to, but that would be a good example of in the sequels they went way too comedy. It went way into the comedy direction.
yeah, like Leprechaun in the Hood, which is just
Leprechaun in Space.
embarrassing. Leprechaun's face, yeah. Um, yeah. Anyway, we're getting off topic.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Nadia, thank you so much for being here. That's Nadia Kader, everybody. Our resident horror person, sometimes
Apparently.
anime person. She's just a person. This is PCMC Pop Culture Man Children. We come out every single Wednesday. We are soon approaching our 300th episode. Can you believe it, folks? If you've listened this whole way, give yourself a little pat on the back. You did it. You did it with us. And if you're a new fan, hey, we're happy to have you too. Go look at the feed. There's probably great stuff up there that you'd be interested in listening to. Nadia here has done a lot of good episodes.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
It's been a journey. It's been so much fun.
Yes. Okay, we end every episode by saying
Go bye bye.